They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you, the inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Blessings and thank you once again for tuning in with us live here on Black Conscious Voices. I'm joined by my brother Mike Cypher. I'm Jamal Whited, and it is Sunday, August 16th, 2020. Brother Mike, what's going on with you, man? How you doing today?
Brother, I'm alive. I can't complain a bit.
Absolutely.
You know, another day, another way. How about yourself, man? It's good to see you, brother, back in the saddle.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Up in here working.
Yes, sir.
I just sent you a YouTube link, good brother.
Okay.
You know, I'm thankful, man. I'm truly thankful for the opportunity to still be right here.
Yes, sir.
At atlwebradio.com with the ability to deliver good music and thoughts and understanding,
content all the way around.
all kinds of good forms of content, man. And it's a blessing, man. I'm thankful, bro.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, man, we've been out for a few weeks, man. Everybody's been just still. Everybody's still getting into the groove of things when it comes to living in the world with the ongoing pandemic.
Yep.
It's truly gotten to a point now, especially here in the United States. I'm not sure exactly how it's going everywhere else, but from what we see in here, it is just abundantly being, let's say, lightened. People are saying, that you see people everywhere now. If they're not made to wear a mask, they're not gonna wear a mask.
Right.
Right. And it's just, I don't know, man. I have at this point just, and actually I did it from the initial as well, but prayers and on top of prayers for us all, for the ones that have to go through an encounter and that can survive.
Exactly.
God bless them. For the ones that succumb to it, God bless their loved ones and family members and so forth for them as well, because it's just it's one of those situations where if you live here in the United States, you've had to, unless you develop yourself a bubble, you're exposed, on a daily basis to, different types of interactions that could bring about the COVID-19. So
well, man, we don't want to stop living,
right.
And understandably so. We don't want to stop being able to feel what little freedoms that they say that we have. So anything that we can do to maintain our emotion when it comes to feeling free and feeling like we have somewhat of control over what we do every day, we gonna do, because we've been so
evident.
subdued.
Evidently.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So the best that we can do, in my estimation, is make sure that we think, eat, and live as healthy as possible. Because at the end of the day, the things that go into your system, the things are the things that allow these type of viruses and things to adhere to your system.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a double-edged sword, man, and we just got to fight back with with some common sense and some
absolutely
good faith goals and some self-awareness
and good faith.
Absolutely.
Real rap, bro.
Absolutely.
Real rap.
Absolutely.
We have we last spoke and had decided that our next episode was going to be dedicated and was going to be an open forum for Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
And the events that are taking place since I think it was March 13th.
Yeah.
2020. It's been close to 5. It's been 5 months now.
March 13th, brother.
It's been over 5 months at this point.
Yeah.
We just cleared 5 months, 3 days ago.
3 days ago. 26-year-old sister.
I'm gonna read, just in case anybody out there has been underneath a rock. I'm going to give everybody a brief account of what took place in Louisville, Kentucky. 1 second here. It was a horrible tragedy at this point, and there's a lot of questions still that remain, but a lot of the questions have been answered. Now it's a call for justice. Truthfully, it's a huge call for justice, but the sensibility behind the scenario, just there is none. What happened in Louisville? This is per the New York Times. Shortly after midnight on March 13th, Louisville police officers executing a search warrant used a battering ram to enter the apartment of Breonna Taylor a 26-year-old emergency room technician. Miss Taylor and her boyfriend Kenneth Walker had been in bed but got up when they heard a loud banging at the door. After a brief exchange, Mr. Walker fired his gun. The police also fired several shots, striking Miss Taylor. Mr. Walker told investigators that Miss Taylor coughed and struggled to breathe for at least 5 minutes after she was shot, according to the Louisville Courier-Journal. She received no medical attention for more than 20 minutes after she was struck, the Courier-Journal reported, citing dispatch logs. The Jefferson County coroner told the Courier-Journal that Miss Taylor most likely died less than a minute after she was shot and could not have been saved. The police had been investigating two men who they believed were selling drugs out of a house that was far from Miss Taylor's home. But a judge had also signed a warrant allowing the police to search Miss Taylor's residence because the police said they believed that one of the two men had used her apartment to receive packages. The judge's order was a so-called no-knock warrant, which allowed the police to enter without warning and without identifying themselves as law enforcement. No drugs were found in the apartment, a lawyer for Mr. Walker said. Miss Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, said her daughter had had big dreams and planned a lifelong career in healthcare after serving as an EMT. She had a whole plan on becoming a nurse and buying a house and then starting a family, Mr. Palmer told the Courier-Journal. Brianna had her head on straight, and she was very decent, and she was a very decent person. She didn't deserve this. She wasn't that type of person. The Louisville police say that they fired inside Miss Taylor's home only after they were first fired upon by Mr. Walker. Miss Taylor's boyfriend. They said that Mr. Walker wounded one of the officers who was hit in the leg but was expected to make a full recovery. Mr. Walker was subsequently charged with attempted murder of a police officer, though the charge was dismissed in May. So a mere 2 months after the shooting of a police officer, they dismissed the charges. I think that was evident that, the justice system in that municipality felt like that the ball had been dropped in this instance. That's just my personal opinion. I'm going to go back to finish reading this up real quick. But the police also assert that despite having a no-knock warrant, they knocked several times and identified themselves as police officers with a warrant before entering the apartment. Mr. Walker has said he and Miss Taylor heard aggressive banging at the door and asked who it was, but they did not hear an announcement that it was the police. The police said that the officers forced entry into the exterior door and were immediately met with gunfire. The officers returned fire, the police said. One of the officers, Brett Hankinson, was fired. The other officers involved in the case, John Mattingly and Miles Cosgrove, have been placed on administrative reassignment. None of the officers face criminal charges. Wow. The Kentucky Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, is now leading the investigation. The FBI is also investigating. Mr. Hankinson appealed his firing, but a hearing for the case has been delayed pending the completion of a criminal investigation. Per this article, they asked the question, is this police account disputed? They say yes, hotly. Miss Taylor's relatives and their lawyers say that the police never identified themselves before entering, despite their claims. They also say that Mr. Walker was licensed to carry a gun, and Mr. Walker, 27, has said that he feared for his life and fired in self-defense, believing that someone was trying to break into their home. He didn't know these were police officers, and they found no drugs in the apartment. None, said Robert Eggert, Mr. Walker's lawyer. He was scared for his life and her life. In a 911 call just after the shots were fired, Mr. Walker told the dispatcher that somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend. The police's incident report contained multiple errors. It listed Miss Taylor's injuries as none, even though she had been shot at least 8 times, and indicated that officers had not forced their way into the apartment, though they used a battering ram to break the door open. Miss Taylor's family also said it was outrageous that the police felt it necessary to conduct a raid in the middle of the night. The lawyers say the police had already located the main suspect in the investigation by the time they burst into the apartment, but they then proceeded to spray gunfire into the residence with a total disregard for the value of human life, according to a wrongful death lawsuit filed by Miss Taylor's mother. There was no body camera footage from the raid, and for now, prosecutors have said they had dismissed the charges against Mr. Walker, adding that they would let investigations into the killing run their course before making any final decisions. Some legal experts said the fact that prosecutors dropped charges after a grand jury indictment suggested that they may have doubts about the version of events told by the police. That's what I was just saying. So, and amidst this situation, there has been national attention, even worldwide attention. Great fallout, and it's just been crazy, man. I got a little more I'm gonna read, but what are your thoughts thus far, brother Mike, on the entire occurrence, the entire situation, man?
Well, brother, it's it's like the obvious,
Absolutely.
What was the purpose? And one thing I can say is this: to me, it sounds like it's more to it than what they saying.
It's absolutely more to it.
This sister obviously wasn't no dummy. This sister was obviously somebody who was just vicariously throwing her life away or doing some things that would draw, police attention to her. Mm-hmm. That's obvious. Mm-hmm. She was in a career. She was on a career path. She was on the road to doing some things that was beneficial to, being productive and being community oriented. Makes me think and feel, and I don't have any proof at this moment. And I'm subsequently, we have the same article, we have the same information, because the same thing that you're reading is some of the things that was researched and found out, on my behalf as well. One thing I will say is that I think it was an assassination, point blank, period, and clear. There was no way, just like in the George Floyd case. Come to find out that this officer in the George Floyd case knew George Floyd, worked with him at the clubs. So there was some beef there that had been, prior, that they had run-ins before, and this was one way this officer could really exact some type of revenge or whatever on this brother. And I think it's the same situation with this sister. I think it's something that she's seen, something that she knew subsequently about another case that she was an EMT on that she didn't know that she knew. And therefore, this was a way to make sure that she kept quiet, because they couldn't afford her to remember or think back, or somebody to ask her some questions to put them in a situation of jeopardy.
It's funny that you say that, because that's been my contention even before I knew any of the circumstances.
Exactly.
Even before I knew any circumstances, just hearing that the police did what they did, meaning like just enter this place, and the body cam footage was null and void. Yep. In this day and time, everybody's got body cam.
Yep.
So, just those two things, and then the sister wasn't just shot; she was murdered. Dude. She was murdered. She was shot over 8 times. So she was a target in this situation. The brother that was shooting the gun did not get shot, but
at all. Why weren't they shooting in the direction of where the shots
coming from, as anybody else would normally do? If I got shots coming at me, naturally I'm gonna try to take out where the shots are coming from to get the shots off me, not shoot in another direction. Right. That doesn't even make any sense.
None whatsoever.
So, and my thoughts, as soon as I heard this story, before I knew anything, the first thing I said was, this was an assassination. Sister Girl saw something that people were scared that she would possibly speak on at some point in time again. And obviously she never even opened up to her boyfriend about it.
Right. And like I said, sadly enough, man, I really believe that the sister probably wasn't even aware that she knew.
She may not have even been. That's very true.
She probably wasn't even.
She probably wasn't even understood that she had witnessed some stuff or partaken in a process that she just needed to be not available anymore.
Right.
It might have been as simple.
Right. Because if she would have known with somebody who moved in the manner that she moved,
she probably would have said something.
She not only would she have said something, she would have definitely told her boyfriend.
Yeah.
She would have told dude and been like, "Hey, I think we need to move in."
He would have been there to speak on it right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I feel you, bro.
Exactly.
I totally
so
feel
for the fact that he didn't know, for the fact that she didn't take precautions in the living arrangement and situation that they were in, she didn't move from that establishment to somewhere a little more unknown, if not safer, but definitely unknown, then lets me know that she wasn't totally aware of what she was into.
Something was up, bro.
What happened.
I agree. I totally agree.
You know,
I totally agree.
I hate it for the sister because, like I said, as many things are going on right now in the health care field, as much as this germ warfare is just starting up on us today.
It's just getting started.
That we need our young brothers and sisters who are in that field and in those fields to really amp up, really not just be nurses and caregivers, but we need them to get into the deeper science of the medicine, deeper science of healing, and getting rid of these chemicals that are about to be introduced openly through the air, and injections, and what do they call them, vaccinations and things of that nature. So, you know, like I say, my deepest thoughts and prayers and love for that sister and her family goes out. But we need to wake up. We need to be more aware. We need to start doing these type of researches on our own to be more informed about really what's going on, and being able to be aware enough to read between the lines. And the things that we do in our personal lives, we have to really own. We have to really start to cleanse and clear ourselves to the fact that we are in tune with the vibrations that are around us, because whether you understand, and overstand or not, what's not being said is just important as what's being said.
Absolutely.
And when you look,
I get it.
When you look at a situation like this, just like you and I both said, brother, it's, you know, the first thoughts that came to our mind, the vibrations that hit us.
First thing.
Yeah, it was more to it than what's being told. So, yeah, man, I think we gotta not only take a stand and march, but we gotta move.
We do.
We gotta move. We gotta stop playing and move.
We do.
We gotta subdue our own mental capacities and behaviors and emotions as far as building, creating, and communities, and nullifying the ability to not protect ourselves, because that's the situation we in. Now they got us in a situation where, in order for us to have our, what is it, the First Amendment right, the right to bear arms, we got to register.
Yeah. Right.
How many of them who got AKs and Max and Desert Eagles, and how many of them are really registered, man, when they getting shipments of crates and crates of weapons and ammunition that we don't even have a fathom of? But we got to register so they'll know when time comes who to go get, because we didn't register. He got weapons. She got weapons. They got weapons. Let's go get them because they got weapons. So we really have to get on top.
Yeah, and in that we can't be afraid to purchase our weapons.
No, we can't.
Outside of the market.
We can't. And not only that, brother, we can't be afraid to become knowledgeable of how to build and create our own weapons. Absolutely. It's not like we ignorant. It's not like we can't learn. It's not like what they are doing and what they have gotten, it came from us anyway.
Right. I agree. I was just, we spoke on it before, brother, back and forth, man. Some of these brothers that retired service, man, that have the knowledge, they gotta be involved.
Gotta step up, man.
Yeah, they gotta be involved because those cats already have the know-how. It's just about putting together the materials. So that we can truly protect ourselves.
Yeah,
no doubt.
And building a band, just like the brother that's doing the joint out at Stone Mountain. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know what?
Yeah, that was something else I was going to go into on another segment this afternoon, man. Is Stone Mountain got lit yesterday, and this is about the second or third time now in the last few weeks here.
And it's just starting, brother.
Yeah.
It's just starting.
Yeah. Most definitely, man. So
they need to. How you going to sit up as a coroner? How you going to sit up as the police department and put into a news article, put into the media that this sister wasn't injured? How you going to put that in the police report that she wasn't injured at all? She got hit 8 times.
8 times.
Now the cat that wasn't injured, you want to arrest him on attempted murder when you break it in his house, not announcing who you are, not saying definitively what you're doing there. But he's supposed to have the right to protect his household and his family. But you're going to charge him with murder?
Attempted murder.
Attempted murder?
Officer that came in without announcing himself.
That sounds like straight crap.
This is again, a lot of times people that don't deal with the justice system of the United States of America take it for granted
that they right.
They take it for granted that it's a system that truly stands for us. And I was explaining to someone a few days ago that, literally in the area that I grew up in, it was known as DeKalb County, Stone Mountain, same area we were just speaking about, man. And I can remember at 16, 17, 18 years old, the way the police would just jump down on, young brothers that were, just making their way, whether we were riding in a vehicle or just walking up the block.
Walking up the street, bro.
And they made issues with us. We learned things that we had no idea were even, quote unquote charges, and were thrown in jail for these things and developed criminal records. And it was as far as I'm concerned, it was definitely a motion put into place in order to begin a controlled atmosphere, a controlling situation. And it was almost like they knew exactly what to do, exactly when to do it. And again, don't get me wrong. I wasn't rolling with angels at this point in time. These guys weren't like these guys weren't just like the best character of individuals. Yeah. But at the same time, a lot of situations that we were in, and we're getting, and I was seeing other brothers get caught up in, had nothing to do with true criminality.
True crime. Right.
Had nothing to do with the stuff that, years later could have put a person in prison, that might have took place from, the same...
Just simple motion.
This same age group of individuals. You see what I'm saying? Kids, I remember being, 16, 17 years old, just walking up Central Drive or Memorial Drive and, getting questioned by police, and we weren't sagging our pants.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't, doing some of the things that some of the brothers are doing today.
Right.
And, all kind of little things, took place over the years, man. So, I know what it's like to see it. I say all that to say, I know what it's like to see a system entangle and bring about a scenario that, you know, would make a person appear to be on paper, I appear to be a career criminal.
Right.
On paper.
Now listen, bro. The thing about that is, we constantly look for this martial law thing to take effect. We constantly saying, well, yeah, what they trying to do is this, and what they trying to do is that. They've already doing it. Mm-hmm. They already set the laws in place. They already laid the groundwork, and all they doing is marching towards the end game of the goal. Mm-hmm. It's not like we gonna wait and all of a sudden, boom, they gonna set it in place. They gotta set structures and systems up. It's just like anything you do.
It's been set for the last 20, 30 years, brother.
Exactly. So we have to understand the motion of the game as well as the game. Absolutely. And they're not gonna do nothing to you just all of a sudden, because then it can be more retribution. It can be reputed. It can be dealt with in a manner of, well, you didn't give us time, or this and that and this and that. They setting up systems so there is no repute.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Every day they cut off a little more of
because we already got it in law.
Yeah. Every day they cut off a little more air.
Yeah.
A little more air.
Now think about it with this sister.
And then finally,
Think about it with this sister. This is just one case. Okay. Now we get out of sorts and we blow up, and understandably so. Not saying that we don't have a right to, because we definitely do. All the brothers and stuff that been in the media about getting choked out, getting shot, getting this, getting that done to them, getting hung from trees in California and in Texas, okay, getting drugged behind trucks, things of that nature. How many times have they really said anything about the sisters that they go after and they've been killing? How do you destroy a nation? You go after the women and the children. In any war, in any construct of the beginning or thoughts of war, that's where you start. You kill the future first. Then you subdue the present by making the men, the heads of household, submit. They will submit if you kill their future, their women and their children.
Absolutely.
So what are you thinking that they really doing with the sisters, Breonna Taylor? What's the other sister's name? They just recently did in. I can't remember. God rest her soul. I can't remember the sister's name, but she's been in the media as well lately. But it's just as many sisters that they taken out than there is brothers. They're not really mentioning that because we might get aware to the game faster and noticing that they killing our future. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, in saying this, is that we really have to understand the construct of war. Mm-hmm. We really have to understand what we are in the midst of and what we're dealing with right here, right now. Right. This ain't no futuristic game.
That's
the futuristic end game is for us to not be here. Before we know that what they're doing, we've already been taken out.
It's a work in progress, as we just stated, man. Or at least the last 400-500 years now.
Yeah.
Since we landed strong in this spot.
So how are we surprised, brother? Why are we surprised?
Yeah.
Now it's time we gotta fight. We gotta stop fighting against each other.
I think more so than us being surprised is so many of us are blinded,
scared
by the light.
Yeah.
Blinded by the light, brother.
Yeah.
They shoot so many rays of light down at you, just blind you.
What do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do? Because if I turn around and go back, then I got problems back there too. Mm-hmm. If I go to the side, I got problems on each side of me. If I run straight into the light, then I know with that ray comes a bullet. So, man, it's a lot of work that has to be done. It's a lot of self-loathing. It's a lot of fear. It's a lot of things that we have to get past, and we have to be able to look at each other and have the love that we have for ourselves. And the sad thing about that is that in most cases, the things that we do is because we don't have love for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Because we've been taught and trained and believe that we are worthless. Mm-hmm. So when I see my brother walk down the street, I give the utmost respect. I don't care if he's wearing tattered clothes or whether he's wearing a business suit. Because until he shows who he is, then I gotta love him as the child of the Creator. Period.
Absolutely. We have I can't see any other way of pushing this point that after 5 months of people doing a lot of protesting, a lot of fighting, a lot of arguing, a lot of crying, a lot of different services and memorials, and oh my goodness, man. We have this year seen probably more loss when it comes to sheer, when it comes to it being right in your face. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. Media coverage because of phones. It ain't like it's happening anymore. It's definitely not happening any less. It's just more visible.
It's more visible, and this year we got to see it up close and personal on so many different levels.
Yeah, smack in the face.
Yeah. And you know, along with the pandemic, all of the lives that are being lost, all of the scares, it's just getting crazy, bro.
It's really crazy. And what do you do in the face of fear? What do you do in the face of fear? And it's just a question. It's not like I have the answer. I know how I must proceed.
I'm telling
being
you
the father of children, and you know, the bearers of those who I'm responsible for. You know, but that's a serious question. What do you do in the face of fear? Do you crumble? Do you wither? Do you run? Do you stand and fight?
Do you build a plan and stick to it and work your way, you know, one direction or another?
Exactly. But how do you do that if
or you keep partying and bullshit?
Right. And how do you build that plan when the ones that you're trying to help proceed, it's just they're fighting against you just as much as your open enemy?
Yeah. And that's the
how do you maintain the courage?
That's the biggest part of the battle right now. We got a lot of brothers who are informed, sisters who are informed, who are well you know, spoken and very much awoke, conscious of everything that's happening before our very eyes, and even in most of their cases, you know, there's not enough support to really grasp some opportunities to work ourselves in a different direction, and a lot of independent efforts are beginning to pick up, but I truly don't see anything strong enough at this point for people to really cling a hold to.
Well, let me ask you this, brother. Where did the ideology and the notion of king come from? Where did the ideology and the notion of one leader or two leaders or somebody to lead come from? I mean, what is the point if one man, one woman can only see, feel, act, react, respond in a distance of their radius of 3 to 6 feet? Why is that one person set in a position to control so much? I know we supposed to rely.
People look for lead. Because people look for lead. Nobody is attempting to guide, and that's the problem.
Exactly.
Guide themselves, or even develop a guiding brand, you know, so that other guides can be set in place, and everyone can recognize their true potential as a king, guide, or what have you. And that's the answer to that, bro. You know.
And with that, brother, It's an
and
old proverb.
I'm not speaking about Mike and Jamal.
I know what you're saying.
You know, I mean, because we look at things from a different perspective.
Absolutely.
However, I'm talking about I'm talking about
general populace,
population,
in our community,
especially in the hood, especially in the hood. You know, my brothers and my sisters.
Exactly. And when I say my community, that's exactly what I'm speaking about. And I know you know. It's we have to come to a determination, a predetermination. Being prejudiced is nothing wrong, because it means that you work within the confines of what you've experienced, and therefore you make a judgment on how to move from those experiences. So we have to prejudge and be prejudiced about whom and what we deal with in every aspect of our life, you know. So we have to get to a point of that prejudging gets to a point where we can say, you know what, I know what he or she's been through. I know the plight and the directive of the system for which we live in. So instead of me judging him harshly, or instead of me judging her harshly, let me give room to really figure out where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
Let me give room to absolutely say, you know what? No matter what the behavior, this is a king here. This is
Let me
a queen
take the
here.
time. Let me take the time.
Exactly.
Time is so valuable, and so many people, so many of us have no problem throwing it away.
Right.
But when it comes, when we're presented the opportunity to actually utilize the time that we have, our most precious gift, other than truly than love, I feel.
And brother, brother. Other than that, what do you have?
What do you have, brother? What do you truly have? You know?
Yes,
so,
sir.
you know, what I get lost on that, man. You know, so many of us are not willing to take the time to enlighten and improve, but we'll throw time at the partying and the bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's been our way. That's been our MO for us, and that's why it is so easy for all these types of warfare that are coming at us right now to overpower us.
Yep. Because we don't
understand. We're not understanding the war, like you said again, brother.
Right.
You know, this sister was another instance.
Casualty.
You know, the brother Floyd, brother Ahmaud.
Yep.
All of these people are instances of situations of us being so torn down that we can't even protect ourselves beyond their system, and we still get beat in it.
How much different is this from Medgar Evers? 60 years ago?
Yeah, nothing.
How much different is this? Tamir Rice.
Yeah.
That's the sister that I was speaking about earlier.
Oh, okay.
Tamir Rice.
Right.
Yes. Brother, this ain't nothing new.
Right.
This ain't nothing new.
Right.
On one hand, they let our sisters in the door for those who have the mindset to been strung out so much by us. I mean, if we're going to keep it real, if we're going to keep it enlightened in a sense of trying to build, we got to understand where we have a part to play in what has been torn down.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's not like, and I'm speaking on the brother's behalf and on the sister's behalf, it's not like we haven't done things to one another to let these infiltrators in to help crumble the castle.
Absolutely.
Now,
time and again at this point,
the best brick in any building is the one that you build at that time. You make that one brick stronger, and then you make the next brick as strong or stronger. Then by the time you look up after a week or two's work, you got a strong wall.
Yeah.
So you focus not on what's to come, you focus on what's happening in the immediate, because that is what's going to affect what you are able to do and what you're not able to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, brother, we have to, as men, and this is just my opinion, We have to really open our eyes and recognize who we are, where we stand in this world. Not just on this continent, not just in this state, not in just in this city, but in the world. There are brothers and sisters all over the world waiting on what we are going to do. And it may not be so overt as to say, yeah, they just sitting back watching us and waiting. But reality is, until those who have been put in captivity the way that we have decide that it's enough, then those who are sorry for allowing this to happen to us, what motion do they have? Because it's happening to them. They've been colonialized too.
Right.
They living on a continent that they run rampant. And there's no sense for them to be controlled the way that they are. But they are.
But they are.
Even by themselves, because of what worth their open enemy has put on something that has nothing to do with real worth of life. That one word that you just spoke, love. Because that's what brought into existence us. So we have to get really down and dirty with ourselves, man, and looking in the mirror and figuring out where we stand, what we will live, and what we will die for, period.
Absolutely. I agree. I totally agree.
And if it's not for our women and our children, then what is our purpose? We have to start building our blocks one brick at a time, as strong as possible. You know, I done made mistakes with my children many a times.
Yeah, you and I both.
You know, but now where I stand now is not where I stood 20 years ago,
right.
30 years ago.
Right.
What I know now, what I feel now, what I see, you know, what I've experienced now. I mean, from all of those experiences building up to put me in a place of my thought and my spirit now, man, if I had that energy then.
Yeah, trust me, I understand, brother. I totally understand.
So as a community, we have to really value the purpose of how we move and how we think, the energy that comes from within us. People hear those words and they think of, you know, some poof magic, something unobtainable, when anything that's anything is developed from motion and energy. That includes us.
Absolutely. I think it's really amazing how much time people spend fathoming how strong they are and the power that we possess as spirits or as individuals that carry the spirit of God within them. But I find it even more of a wonder to myself how many of us are actually engaged in daily exercising these abilities.
Well, it's not many, because the words that you just spoke are so true and mandated to life that it's not funny, because we are so busy at this point destroying. Because just think, what you just spoke, okay, the energy that you speak of, what you speak of is in the blood. What do we do every day as far as exercising the cleanliness of that blood? That's where the flow of the energy is. That's the Christine or the Christian or the Christ-like flow of life is. You have miles and miles and miles of blood vessels running through just your body. Now, can you imagine what that energy, 10% of your brain, if that is what we use, can you imagine what that power would be like with your bloodline?
I can't even fathom
being
it, brother.
Cleansed purely and totally, to a point that when I think, I ain't even got to move my lips.
Right.
You hear every word I say.
Right.
It's not impossible, man.
Oh, I know. I'm here.
When I think I can pick up a table on the other side of the room and move it where I need to move it, because that's the power that I've been given, because that's what I was born from.
That's what God
You
said.
speak of God and this and that and that, all these superlatives and all these adjectives about what created, what brought forth life. Can you imagine what power that is to bring forth something from nothing? I'm not preaching, man. I'm just speaking mathematics and science in real life.
Right. I'm hip. I'm with you. I'm hip and I'm with you, brother.
So if you can fathom that kind of power, it's just like when I came up somewhere in my ancestry was pure athlete. So that culminated a lot of things physically within me. If my son is not an athlete, if my daughter is not athletic, then they can't be from the same blood. So no matter whether they take it upon themselves to venture into athletics or not, that is still there in them. Same thing. So all I'm saying is, when you speak of God, when you speak of whoever you wanted to deem as this holy apostle or deity,
Yeah, there you go.
know that the source is one. Know the power of the source and realize if it created you, then you have the power of your father.
Within you.
Otherwise, you live in a bastard life. Recognize yourself. Look in the mirror.
Absolutely.
And that's where we start.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I ain't trying to preach, man. I'm just trying to give you a summation of ideas that could clear the convoluted teachings of religion. And I'm not speaking of just Christianity. I'm talking about Islam, whatever you want to, whatever religion that you're a part of. Open your eyes to the one thing that they all speak of. The one thing that they all speak of.
That's right, the Creator. The one thing they all got in common. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. I speak on that on a regular basis, man. Like I'm so right there with you, brother.
No doubt.
In all of that. I couldn't stress it enough how much I truly feel as though at this point religion is one of those things that we have taken and it's been utilized
To destroy us.
for several purposes, up to and including definitely destroying a people, a civilization, but as well separating. You know, being a line in the sand. I always call it a line in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is what prevents me from being able to sit down at the same table you sit down at, or from being able to go wash my hands in the same, you know, pot of water that you're gonna clean yours from, or being able to take my daughter to the same school you taking yours to, you know, because of this religion. You know,
what does that do? That destroys our connection.
It destroys the human connection, the human feel. So I'm with you on that 150%, man. I drawing back to the main topic, bro. I truly believe that in this point in time, you know, and that's what I was saying about 2020 at this point, man. 2020 is come along to show us a lot of different things. That we had, you know, and I heard a lot of people say 2020, that's perfect vision, you know, so clarity, things supposed to be a lot clearer.
Exactly.
But we've watched the country and the world, in fact, but I mean, we live here, so we've dealt with what's primarily here. But we watched this this year, an election year.
How about that? How about that?
We watched this election year begin in crises, and it is carried out to at this point just a mere 2.5, 3 months from the election.
With a cartoon character in office.
And the threat of and the threat of him possibly getting another term. But I'm saying all that to say that in this year, you know, especially in this last occurrence with the young lady, Brianna. There has been so many things that have been forcefully positioned in our faces to make me post a question.
Mm-hmm.
How much more do you need to truly understand that we are, as you just stated, at war?
Yeah. And have been for years, bro.
How much more do we really need? How many more times do we...
Exactly. Off the top of it.
How many times do we say to ourselves, how many times does that happen? And brother after sister after sister after brother after brother after sister after brother die before we say, oh.
And at this point in my life, it's the babies, because these are younger. These are much younger brothers and sisters. So these are our children now, and more than being at war, we are under siege because we are captive.
That's right.
We are being held captive in a state of nowhere to go, no way to get out of. That's the problem. That's the problem, that we maintain ourselves by the behavior that we are forthcoming with against one another.
Yeah.
We don't have to maintain this. We don't have to sit still for this. We will have to sacrifice. We will have to put up or shut up. Either you gonna be the sheep that's being led to the slaughter, or you gonna be the lion.
Uh-oh.
Ain't really too many other choices we got.
That's right.
You tell me and convince me that we have other choices. We can all just get along. Prove it to me, because it hasn't been proven yet. We got some allies, as they that they speak about in the media, in the main media now, that's being controlled by the same devils that's putting us in a position in the first place. Okay, we realize that. We've always realized that. But at the end of the day, where do they stand? At the end of the day, some of them will face that bullet with you, but it ain't many. They are so very few and far between. As long as they can stand back 30 feet and hold that camera, yeah, they'll be an ally holding that camera, But when it comes to actually getting in front of you to take that bullet, because they know what's happening is wrong, and they know if they stand in front of that bullet, it likely won't be fired, then you talk to me when you can videotape that shit.
Yeah.
Excuse my English.
Yeah, no, man. You well in your rights. You at home, my brother. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. And anybody out there that can't deal with it, you already know you can click the button.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's what it is. But yeah. Man, brother.
We gotta live, man. We gotta stop being afraid to live.
It's time to change. The time for change is come and gone.
Yep.
If you haven't changed and put some shit into motion at this point, you're probably lost.
How about that?
You're probably lost. And at the end of the day, truthfully speaking, man, I don't know a whole lot more to tell you, because again, we're at a point now where it has become physically evident on the highest levels. On the lowest levels.
And that's been evident. We can tell the grungiest of the grunge of brothers and sisters, what that's like. They already know. We ain't got to speak on that. But on the highest level, where you start to deal with these so-called upper echelon brothers and sisters who think they're above the law, or think that they're a part of the crowd, they're under the illusion of being included. Man, you better really realize what side of the coin you living on, because you still got that skin tone. And when they done ran out of slaves, who you think that they gonna produce more slaves with? You will become that motherfucker.
Just straight like that.
Yes.
Straight like that.
Father, fucker. I mean, these are terms that just not coming out the breeze
Right.
because
This
it
is the real
sound
deal.
cool and it
Right.
sound,
Right.
you know, these are real actions of those who have enslaved you and who have you under siege. These are things that they made you do to breed you like they do dogs, cows, horses, and everything else. This is a breeding process, man. Why you think they talk so much about blood cleansing or being pure blood and this and that, especially when you talk about these parasitic vampire movies and werewolf movies, and their main thing is being pure blood. Their pure blood in their aspect of being is such a recessive thing. And they starting to find that out, man. Why do you think they feeding on you?
Why do you think that they have plasma centers damn near as many as they have liquor stores now on every
Yes,
corner
sir.
in the black community?
Yes, sir.
Where do you think all that plasma's going?
To TVs. as well as their refrigeration systems and everything else. DNA systems and everything else. We are the world, man. Come on, we are the world. We are the universe.
And as we get further into this process, brothers and sisters that don't recognize, man, you will definitely be placed on the chopping blocks yourselves.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be one way. It's going to be one way, and a lot of us are at this point far too blind to see it. And unfortunately, like my good brother Greg would always impose, man. And I used to hate to hear it when it would come from him, but he made a good point. It's like, everybody's not going to be ready, man.
Mm-mm.
Everybody's just not going to be ready, bro, and that's just what it is. Everybody won't be ready.
And even if you are ready, you still gonna have fear.
Yeah.
And even if you are ready and you have little fear, there's still going to be trepidation.
That's right.
Because being a spiritual being means having the understanding and the wisdom and the knowledge of life and the things that it took for us to be able to maintain it across the board. You know, the separation of the one came down to so many of us. We are virtually in a state of reverting, trying to move back into, trying to become back into the oneness that we were created from. Because if you look at it realistically, everything, the only thing that you can't divide by itself is one. The only thing that you can't take one color and create is black. It takes every color in the spectrum to come back together, or to come together to make what was created first. This is simple mathematics. So the breakdown from the black to the brown to the red to the yellow to the white is simple mathematics. And if you understand the reversal of it, then whether they will admit it or not, by taking your blood, your plasma, your DNA, and changing the construct of it so they can own it, it's just another way of them trying to put themselves in your place without openly and honestly saying that that's what they're doing. The number one drug on the market is melanin. The number one selling drug on the market is melanin. Regardless of what they tell you. Realize. So, Sister Breonna Taylor, Tamira Rice, all the brothers and sisters, especially the sisters, because, like I say, from a man's aspect of being, I can't have no more children without you. I can't build a future or a legacy without you.
Absolutely.
So I have to protect you. I have to give my last drop of blood for you in order for, if nothing else, if not for me, for my brother, for my sister, for my sons to be able to bring forth are continuance,
Absolutely.
because they're taking it away daily. Daily.
Absolutely.
Every second, every minute, every hour, in many different ways.
That's right.
So like I said, brother, I ain't, I don't know nothing. I ain't trying to preach. I'm just hoping that y'all hear, because these ain't my words. I hope that y'all hear, because many brothers and sisters have come to give you this information. It's whether you're willing to listen and take part in the revolution. That's what's vital. Your emotion. Don't nothing change unless you change. And when you change, everything around you, anything involved with you, has to change. Science and mathematics, the ruling law of the universe, it has to. All you got to do is try it.
That's right.
All you got to do is try it. Try it.
I totally agree with you, bro. I will say this. The generation that my kids are, my oldest children are a part of right now, they're in my mindset. I don't see enough of understanding of self, but when it comes to them now, I do see them doing great things in the lines of, putting more healthier things into their bodies, in certain instances, as opposed to kind of how they were doing about 5 or between, let's say, 5 to 7 years ago, as they were just entering their, leaving the teens and entering their 20s. I see them, attempting now to, do a lot better, clearly, when it comes to what they're ingesting and what they're putting into themselves. But I still feel like there is a level of unity that is necessary, and it's mentorship that is necessary from our generation down to them, in order to further help develop a picture for the future. I think what took place between our parents and us is we got caught in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now there is a heightened need for us to develop a full-scale plan or plans for different, let's say, individuals, in order for them to be able to properly be suited for what's coming next, for the next phases of this war that we are deeply embedded in, mm-hmm. as a people. I think that is key at this point.
It is.
And I think that's one of those things that we, at this point, man, because of the heightened need to make sure that our direct situations aren't infiltrated by all of the craziness that is coming on, that it leaves space that we have to be very diligent about filling.
I agree totally, brother. And a lot of that is because of, in our generation, mine a little further back than yours, we had our grandfather and our grandmothers around. How many generations now have that same stint? Do they have their grandmothers and, in some part, great grandmothers and grandfathers around? How many of them actually have lived with their grandparents and still had their parents around? A lot of them now are either parentless, or the only parent that they have is their grandparents, which is their parent. So it's a thing of, we need to get back to what we've talked about on several occasions, bringing those instances of 4, 5, 6 generations all in one household. We look at that as being something crazy, far-fetched, or
Right, but that's
totally
what it really,
impoverished.
that's what it's supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to be, because then you have the education from the years back, all
That's
in
what
one,
we're
under
missing.
one roof. So you know what
Well, we've
it
been
took
taught to
become.
separate.
Right. We've been taught to separate. So now you don't know the experiences of your foreparents, your grandmother and grandfather. You don't know their experiences because they're not there to talk to you about it. They're not there to show you the results of the experience, the action that is speaking louder than what I can tell you about my mother or my father. They telling you firsthand. So that makes the connection a lot more solid, valuable, and durable. So now my children that had the privilege of not only their grandmother but their grandfather to teach and to show and to construct the mindset of their past, because it's all a cycle of information and energy. So what they bought from their grandfathers and great grandfathers and so forth, that passed down generation, it immediately came to a halt. Come about mid 70s, 80s, and 90s, it came to a halt. So how do we get that back? We get that back one way by getting to a point where we can get along well enough, force ourselves to get along well enough to be generations under one roof, force ourselves to have a commonality and some understanding and enough teaching to be, what is the word I'm looking for, to be considerate of each individual's own experiences, to say, you know what, I don't care if you're 3 years old. Wow, I appreciate you coming to me with that, because it enlightened me to something that otherwise I probably wouldn't have thought about, because your feelings matter, your thoughts matter, how you move matters. You being an individual in this group matters. Now, take those knowledges, because really this is knowledge of self. This is history. This is history. And how many of our children get true history taught to them in school? Year around, not just 1 month, year around.
The history they teach them for that 1 month ain't about shit.
Ain't nothing. But they teaching us their history and how they are conquerors,
yeah,
and how we are nothing but slaves.
Even
all
when you're out
year
of
long.
school.
Yeah.
You go home, it's on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, brother. So for me, that would be one instance to keep us in a situation to where we are not only controlling our environment, but we can also then feel secure and safe in policing our environment. Getting back to the Marcus Garvey era and the Huey Newton era, the Bobby Seale era, the Kwame Ture era of thought.
Absolutely.
Because not only does each one need to teach one, but each one need to protect one.
That's right.
So those other ones will protect and keep protecting, and it becomes infectious. It becomes infectious, because when you care about what goes on around you and who's around you, then more times than not, that's a rubber band that pushes it right back towards you. It bounces back every time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's just a starting point, brother. That's just a starting point. I think it's very vital that we have a sense of self by knowing, both parents, both sets of grandparents,
Absolutely.
great grandparents, and however far we go back.
That's right. There needs to be a point of that, because that is where, again, like you said, that's what we really draw on, the strength of the actual family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know nothing. I don't know what Tamir Rice. I don't know what Breonna Taylor. I don't know what George Floyd and Amadou Diallo, and I don't know all the other brothers and sisters. The brother down in Florida, the brothers in California who was hung from trees, Trayvon Martin and such. I don't know what their family lives were like.
Right.
But I can tell you this: if it had been galvanized from generations past, then there's no way that brother Trayvon Martin would have been out in that street, walking down the street by himself, being hunted, without knowing he was being hunted, because the vibration would have been there, and he would have been more alert.
He'd have been alert
and
sleeping.
Been able to turn around and to attack
he's paying
or
attention to the
evade.
cell phone
Exactly.
and some candy, man.
Exactly.
And again, those are perfect distractions.
Exactly.
The perfect culprits.
Exactly. Technology.
It'll do it every. Those two will do it every time.
Every time. Killing you from without and from within.
And from within. So, this is where we're at, and these are the things that is, like you said, had the young brother truly been in tune, had the community truly been in tune, had the black people that encompass the United States of America truly had fine-tuning at this point, I do believe that the outcome of a lot of these situations would have been totally different. Most of them would have never even been set. It would never even been set.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I dig it, bro. I dig it, man. We've been talking for an hour and some change, and you took a break, man. Let's take us a quick break, man.
No doubt.
And we're gonna come back and give them a little more here live on ATL Web Radio. It is Black Conscious Voices, yours truly, Jamal White, joined by my brother Mike Cypher.
Yep.
And before we do this, man, Mike, if the listeners out there got anything in line they want to drop you, how can they email you or follow you on any of the social platforms, man?
I'm not really on any social platforms,
okay,
but you can hit me at M1 Cypher SYPHA at yahoo.com.
Right.
You can also reach me at Chuck's M1 on Gmail, M1 MID 84. Excuse me, it's Chuck's 84 M1 MID at gmail.com.
Okay, all right. So there it is, man. Also, you can drop a line to yours truly here at info@atlwebradio.com, or you can always hit me up 449199363.
Exactly.
So yeah,
and
man.
my number is 770-369-4592. Please enlighten me.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're going to keep this ball bouncing, man. We're going to be back at you in just a few minutes and talk a little more about Breonna and some of the other stuff that came behind it.
Yes.
All right. Blessings.
They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. justice, and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you, the inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the voodoo. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you, the inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the voodoo. You see, The physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you, the inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the boo. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you, the inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we and the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the voodoo. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again.
back at you, man. ATLwebradio.com. It is Black Conscious Voices, Sunday, August 16th. I'm joined here with my good brother, Mike Cypher, and we were discussing Breonna Taylor and everything that's been going on a spiritual realm as well as a physical realm that surrounds not only those circumstances, but several others that have been eye openers and as well horrific tales of brutality against our people. And we have dealt with this kind of thing until we're blue in the face at this point. And you know, a lot of brothers and sisters are still marching and fighting for justice for Breonna and other brothers that have and sisters that have lost their lives due to police brutality and violence by the police. And I was reading some words that Brother Mike here has that he printed off as far as background info for today's show. And one of the persons that had gotten involved on the Say Her Name platform and started, you know, bigger individuals that spoke on the Say Her Name platform that popularized this year on Breonna's birthday. Kamala Harris was this week named as the vice presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. And I'd asked Mike just before coming back on air if he wanted to just kind of discuss a little bit about that. Mike said that he didn't have a whole lot of background on him, but I just paying attention to, you know, I pay a lot of attention to the news lines. And I don't know how many people know, but I was involved myself in doing some heavy campaigning for Kamala when she was initially going for the presidential ticket. And she had some really nice gatherings here in the Atlanta area. And I thought that the sister was well-rounded, personally. I did have some questions about just her background when it came to the amount of brothers that were, you know, underneath her push that were subjected to prison terms.
In California.
In California, indeed. And you know, don't get me wrong. There is a definite place for prison systems, and don't get me wrong. Again, there's a definite need because everybody shouldn't be running around. You know. However,
well,
I will say this. Well, I will say this. And this is just on the final line for Kamala. There was a lot of controversial things that took place in her background that had the Democratic Party drop her as a candidate on a presidential ticket.
No doubt.
And I just find it odd that a person that was subjected to, like, she went through almost a whole Bill, like damn near what like Bill Clinton went through in office type of deal. Like, there was a lot that went with it. Like, there was a lot of stuff concerning her father, a lot of stuff concerning just things in her you know, in her life and her background that came out, and you know, they did away with it. But now, in this deeply heated race, that we, you know, a lot of people have put a lot of people that really didn't want to put a lot of attention into Joe Biden began putting attention to Joe Biden because it became even more evident how important it was to get, you know, the clown out of the office.
Mm-hmm.
And
but does that mean put another clown in?
And at the same time, my biggest question is, what does this whole picture truly draw? Because again, you put a woman, and I'm not just going to say, you know, this is a candidate, put a candidate into a position that there's already been heavy scrutiny and a lot of public turmoil in the negative against this sister.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you add her to a campaign that you are trying to win?
Right.
You know, this late in the game.
A lot of things that I
just look at certain people, like we had Stacey here. Right. We had a few
Abrams,
other. If you wanted to go with a brother, with a sister, you know.
Matter of fact, there's two sisters here. I think that was under consideration. Stacey Abrams and I can't remember the other sister's name, but I think it was another one from North Carolina that was also
on the
considered.
Ticket, on the consideration plate.
Right. But the sister from California, her background as far as nationalization, whether her parents, you know, whether because of her parents she's a naturalized citizen and whatnot. You know, all that for me is just smoke screens. As far as the prison situation goes, if the system wasn't what it is, you know, would prisons really be as necessary? Of course, they would still be needed from the aspect of you talking about, you know, individuals who want to prey on children and things of that nature. Do things that just not going to be settled with if the community would galvanize and become the communities that they could and should be, as far as my opinion. You know, we would definitely have to have something done about them. And really, whether you like it or not, I subscribe to that eye for an eye. You take a life, you give a life. And if your life is meaningful to you, then you should have that same respect for the lives that you are embarking upon taking, whether it be physically or spiritually, mentally, or under any case. And anytime you do away with the children, as far as their spiritual and mental capacity of life and fervor for life and living, then, you know, that's just as much as killing them. Killing the spirit and the soul, you kill the mind and the body. So in that aspect, you take one, you got to give one, and the one you got to give is your own. So we definitely have need for the prison system to some degree, but when you talk about systems and systematic oppression and systematic anything, how well is that system built and what is it built for? It's what makes those type of situations conducive. Now, to the sister, like I said, like I told you before we got back on the air, I really don't know a whole lot about her. I really don't know what the turmoil is or what she's been going through or what she has done in regard to upkeep of her own in California. I know California is one of them places that they have a lot of transcending mind states and things of doing when it comes to growth of food and negative things as far as how they deal with our community in California, as far as the prison systems and things of that nature, that you know, it bears some real investigation by our community in order for us to give her the nod as far as being one that will really look out for us as far as a candidate, whether it be for vice president or president. You know, she would have to be under serious scrutiny, just like any of them should be. Senators in every state, governors in every state, councilmen in every state, every city. We got to start doing our diligence if we really going to get into this voting game, and it is a game. If we're going to get into this voting game and trying to change the system from within, then do it seriously. Don't do it thinking that you can ask a baby snake not to become an adult snake. That's just my take on it.
Absolutely. I feel like at this point, excuse me, people. I feel like at this point that I just feel like there's something to it. I am a conspiracy theorist on the greatest level, so excuse me, but I just feel like it's always something to it, brother.
I agree. For one, he ain't. This cat done put in the law so many things that, as far as the prison system and the population, or the popularizing of the prison system and how they can subdue us and get us caught up on technicality and how many years we served because we spit on the sidewalk and things of that nature. These are laws that this cat Joe Biden wrote in, and that's not coming from any propaganda as far as Trump's campaign goes or anything like that. If you actually look at the laws and do the research as far as the type of things that he's brought to bear,
it's really real.
It's really
it's really real.
Between him and Clinton, they did more damage to the black community as far as prison time goes than most any other president. So
I heard. I'm gonna tell you something, and it's funny.
So, and not to cut you off.
Go ahead,
so
brother.
my thing is, why would somebody like Obama even put this cat on his ticket, knowing that he had to know, bruh?
You knew he knew.
He had to know.
And at the end of the day, I don't even think it was him putting him on the ticket.
It wasn't.
He was basically put into a position that
exactly.
It's like now Kamala's being put into a position.
And to subdue the minds of thinking that we're included, knowing that we not. And as soon as she step out of line, the axe is gonna fall, the gavel's gonna fall, the guillotine's gonna fall on her neck, just like any other rest of them.
Yeah, and she won't be the president, so she can be a perfect scapegoat.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
We're gonna have to see how this works out. I was gonna say this, and I'm gonna leave it brief. But Donald Trump said something at the end of one of his press conferences. One of the people, one of the reporters, had actually questioned him, and asked him about the reforms that he has in place for the black community and so forth. And Donald Trump's answer, as it took me a long time to think about it because I laughed at first. It was funny to me at first, but then the more I thought about it, the more I started to believe it. It was really real. It may not have been 100% true, but it was very close to it. And the statement that he made in response to that question was, I love the black community. That I've done more for the black community than any other president since maybe Abraham Lincoln. And that was a powerful statement.
I heard that.
That was truly a powerful statement.
Yeah.
That was truly a powerful statement because, I'm going to say something and a lot of people are going to take it a certain way, but a lot of the jerks that have come along in office and that have stuck it to us, they hid as they stuck it to
agenda.
us.
Yeah.
It was very much hidden, whereas at least this fool,
he's overt.
Puts it directly in front of your face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Puts it directly in front of your face. I think we got a call in coming in.
No doubt.
Let's see what we can get going on here. There we go. Hey, you're live on ATLWebRadio.com. Good afternoon. Can you hear us? Did I lose him? I might have to call him back. My phone took it into a speaker, and I think I might have lost him. Let me call him back. But yeah, man. There's a lot to be said at this point. Looking at this election, now they really trying to figure out exactly how it's going to take place. with the mail-ins, and
Well, if you can't vote, then who's gonna win? I mean, really, that's what it comes down to with all the controversies and problems that's going on with these places to have the voting booths and have people gather in a COVID area. You were supposed to stand so far, so many feet apart, and things of that nature.
Absolutely. You're live on ATL Web Radio. I think we missed a call. Can you hear us?
Yes, I was calling in. Yes, can you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I just wanted to say a couple of things about what you were talking about, Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. First, she was a lawyer and a politician in California. I think part of the problem they're dogging her out, obviously, is because she's black. Her parents are not from this country. She's considered South Asian. If anything else, that's what she's considered, according to white people. She also had some things that she's done in the past on the black side that black people don't like, in terms of, like, you're talking about her prison record. She sent a lot of people to prison. When she did try to change the system, and I believe she was in, I want to say in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
She was in San Francisco trying to change up the prison reform. She was trying to do prison reform there. She was constantly blocked. So there was a lot. Once somebody's in power, especially somebody of color, there's only so much they're going to be allowed to do.
Absolutely.
I just believe that once she's in a position now where if Biden wins as president, again, let's say something happens to him, she's next in line. There's only so much she's going to be able to accomplish in that position. But going back to her background, according to black people, they're not thrilled with her record on certain things. They felt she could have did better. My opinion was, again, being where she was and where she's from, they weren't going to let her do too much anyway. And in terms of her personal background, you said she went through like a Bill Clinton-esque type situation. She did. She had an affair with the mayor. I don't know if you're familiar. I believe his name was Willie Brown. He was the mayor of San Francisco, or he was the governor, I believe. I'm sorry. And he was loud and obnoxious. But she had a relationship with him, and he was married, and that just made it worse for her. So there's just a lot, again, like you were saying, on certain things that she's done that people don't like on either side. And I'm talking about Republicans, Democrats, black and white, across the board. So my problem is, I know when she...
How about that?
She's definitely human. How about that?
Right. The other thing is, I know when you were talking about Biden, people have pointed out in the past that Obama, he's a friend of Biden. He likes him, but he doesn't think he's right or he can get anything done. He's not the person to be president.
Well, I mean, with that said, it's two
You
things.
understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
With that said, it's two things that come to my mind as far as questions. Was Obama qualified then? As far as
no, but I'm talking about.
And for two,
no,
with the subject or the subject matter of only being so much that can be done in those positions, or so much that they will let them do in those positions. Why are we still believing and working towards and fighting for being a part of those systems that are still controlling us to do harm against us? Why don't we?
And I agree with you.
Playing with a system that is not going to allow any equality.
And I agree with you a lot. I mean, if you're familiar with the Alexandria, I forgot her name, in New York. She's coming in and she has a group of people. They call them the Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of them are women. A couple of them are Muslim women that are trying to change that political system. And I guess most people are labeling it socialism, where basically they want the rich to pay for a lot, or raise taxes, let the rich pay more taxes, stop letting them have loopholes, and a lot of the money could go to funding a lot of things like free health care, free education, things of that nature. And instead of considering that liberal, they consider that more socialism. So there are a group of people that are coming up in politics that want to actually change the system, change it for the better. It's they're fighting the establishment. And so far they've done a pretty decent job. They've won some seats across the board in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. There's more of them along the way. It's going to be a long fight, basically.
Yeah,
but going back to Harris, I think they could have picked Stacey Abrams. I think she would have been a good choice.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying she would have been better, but she was definitely going to be a good choice because she's somebody that speaks her mind. She doesn't care. She came from a background that I think a lot of people can relate to, as opposed to Harris. And I'm not saying Harris, we can't relate to her, but Stacey Abrams considered more, I don't know word to use, but just a lot of people I think can relate to her better.
Well, do you think publicly she has an Obama agenda, so to speak? Does she have a particular agenda as when it comes to the treatment of black males as opposed to black females, or treatment when it comes to making the plight of the LGBT and whatever community the same plight as being black? Now, with the respect of knowing that there are a lot of brothers and sisters who live that lifestyle, and that is what it is, but there is still two specific and distinct, very distinct genres there. You have a choice in one, regardless of what anybody says to me. The other, you have no choice in what you came to be in creation. So to equalize those two different agendas,
right,
is not respect for the fact of life, as far as I'm concerned. Respect for the fact of living and how you choose to live still needs to be dealt with. It still needs to be appreciated in the capacity of love life and let life love be what it is, but beyond any other capacity, a choice is a choice, and living or being created into life as being is what it is. So I guess my ideology or my question with her is, what is her real agenda? I mean, is it something like Obama's, to the point where he didn't really give the black communities, black men specifically, anything to build on? Do we have anything to build on with her or any other candidate that say that they are pro-black, while being pro-black is meaningful at this point in time?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I also wanted to add, and just a little background check on her myself. I see she also led reform, led reform for and supported the healthcare reform for federal descheduling of cannabis there in California, and I think that type of a mindset, it will go a long way with all of the federal movements now, or actually state by state movements now that are probably going to invoke some sort of a federal movement to legalize cannabis on a national level here. So I think that would be definitely something all my potheads out there would find enlightening. But I wanted to say one other thing about Kamala. Even though she's billed as South Asian American, Her father's family side of the family, she spent a lot of time with them in Jamaica, visiting. And then as well, she also attended one of the more popular HBCUs here in America, known as Howard University.
Right. Right.
And those, not to say those things make her black, but she.
But her skin color does.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, and her ability to again stand outside of, sister that is lying on line with us now. She put out the fact that Kamala's disliked on all sides of the spectrum, and I think that's a good thing because again, one of the things that I said when she was saying that is that that does prove humanality,
right?
And at this point, that's something that wins over with the people. So we just have to really see how this thing works out, man.
Right, and I agree. I mean, in with me saying that her skin tone definitely makes her black. But that doesn't mean that she's, down for the cause.
Right.
Your skin color. I mean, we got many enemies within our own ranks.
Absolutely.
We got many enemies within our own culture and our own communities. Just because you're black don't make you down.
That's right.
Don't make you the love of life or the love of humanity.
Or real.
Or real. We will see in your actions. Because no matter what you say at this point in time, for me, and that goes with the cannabis, it goes with everything, with the killings of the brothers and sisters across the board. Your actions speak louder than the words. And if I'm going to sit up and allow you to put something on me systematically, as far as legalization of anything, then I have to question, why are you making it okay now when it wasn't then, for one? For two, who is the culprit in allowing this to be, and what is the purpose? Because you ain't never did nothing for me that was good for me. So why would you legalizing cannabis be something that I can look at as being something good for me and not poison? Just like the doggone vaccinations. So it's many things that we have to really investigate. We have to really put our thinking caps on, and our research and power of thought to when it comes to making any type of choice, when it comes to systematic oppression, and this is a system. I believe it's a system. It's not just something that, come to be because the populace likes it or don't like it. The populace is controlled by the system when it should be absolutely the other way around.
Absolutely. Sister, I wanted to thank you for joining us. Did you have anything else you wanted to share with us before we
Yes, I have one more comment about what you stated earlier about conspiracy, and I can understand that and respect that. I think there's a lot into any conspiracies, and I guess my thing is just being careful about which one, because I know for the longest time when they hide the truth from the people, and then we start finding out what's really going on, the conspiracies going on, they allow certain things to be put out there, so we can follow the breadcrumbs. And while we're doing that, what's really going on is going on behind us. We're not paying attention, so we just have to be careful about the conspiracies. And I guess in part an example of that is Area 51. Now all of a sudden they're admitting to that, something that people have already known existed. You know what I'm saying? So just got to be careful with certain conspiracies.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. And like you said, I myself, I keep them close, and I always, utilize that raised eyebrow at the situations that, for me, reflect on prior times or something that I'm thinking is coming our way in the future. And
right.
I reserve that, but I know where you're coming from, because again, there's just so much conjecture and information floating, and it's coming so fast nowadays that you can really be, and I believe so much of it is for the purposes of outright confusion.
Right.
Yeah, but you can be
Right. That's what I was trying to bring up. And then certain information they weren't allowing us to have, all of a sudden they're putting it out there for us.
Right.
So I just feel sometimes there are some people who want information released to let everybody know, and then there's other information that they hold close to the vest because, a scandal, I guess, would happen. So that's my only thing. Just like, and I can't recall the movie, but there was a movie about a journalist. He was doing a story, and the story ended up changing. He was doing about the crack epidemic and how the government was involved in that. They tried to tell me it was a conspiracy, it was this and that, but he actually followed the trail. There were certain politicians that spoke to him behind closed doors, people that retired military officials who were anonymous. They didn't want to come forward in the light, but they gave him enough information where he put together a very good article, and the book was written that the government funded that whole crack epidemic. So then he ended up dying a so-called suicide. We know it wasn't suicide, but those are the things that people always have to be mindful of, the information that's out there, the information that they eventually do find, and then trying to determine, like you said, so much is out there, you have to find out what's the truth and what's not.
That's right.
And hopefully those type of things, well, I can't even say that, but we know that those knowledges don't come to light in a timely fashion. So we have to do our diligence and make sure that the things that are happening currently, we are involved and informed, and we do the work to know exactly what the truth is right here, right now, instead of 30 years later when they tell you,
right.
Well, yeah, we did assassinate Kennedy, or yeah, we did. We did take always know that
Martin was still alive, and he did go to the hospital,
right.
and he really was
right.
Allowed to, it's
right. Or the brothers that shot Malcolm X in the Autobahn. Is that the name of the stadium they were in?
Yeah. Was
actually CIA infiltrators. These are people that were put up on to this job, to do this job specifically because it was time to get rid of, but also were connected to the Nation of Islam as well. So, these informations we feel and we know that we have some type of connection to what is real and what's happening, but to know it and to feel it is one thing. To actually have it out there so the people will know currently what's going on, so their stance will be timely into making the movement timely for the future is what we need to really stand behind, stand on, and stand for. So the information that we receive, make sure that it's the information that is current. Make sure it's what's happening before it happens, not 30 years after, 40, 50 years after, when there's nothing, when they look at it as, well, ain't nothing they can do about it now, so we'll tell them.
There you go.
We want to be able to do something about it currently.
Absolutely.
We definitely appreciate you calling in, sister.
Most definitely.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I enjoy the show, and you need to keep it up.
Most definitely will do. All right, sis. Blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Real talk.
Yeah, man. So we've gone over our time. I want to thank everybody that's joined us today here live. I want to thank you, Mike, for being here with me, man. Once again, helping me continue this fight.
Brother. It ain't gonna stop, brother. I'm here. When you need me, I'm here. Yeah. And that's on every level, bro.
Most definitely.
That's on every level. I want to thank everybody, especially you, who make this happen. Anybody who's ever listened, anybody who's ever tuned in, who's ever called in. I mean, we appreciate that so much. It's not even funny.
Absolutely.
Keep it coming. Make it happen more. Give us vibrations, man. Yeah. Feed the fuel to this fire, because they say you can't fight fire with fire, but you know what? If my fire is blazing a lot more than yours, guess which one is gonna take over?
Okay. Yeah.
So we just gotta build the fire, man. The flames hot enough to make everything and everybody feel it, so we burn bright like the sun.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, so thank you once again for joining us here live at ATL Web Radio. I'm not really sure if Mr. Paul is going to be back with us today or not, so I'm going to make a phone call here in a few. But we do have some good hot music coming your way. I am doing my happy birthday to my mother's celebration today,
Definitely
man.
happy birthday. Happy birthday. Peace and blessings be with you forever.
Amen, amen. I'm still missing your mom, and I guess I'll never stop. But
not at all.
Your spirit is well
Represented.
well, and is well embedded here, and it'll never go anywhere. So, with that being said, I love all y'all. Brother Mike, much love, man. I love you, brother. I love
you too,
all of y'all out there that continue on checking in with us, supporting us, tapping in, man. Keep doing it. And we're going to keep it going right here. ATLWebRadio.com. This is Black Conscious Voices.
They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the boo.